Let me tell you something most men don't want to admit. It's not your looks, it's not your money, it's not even your status. The real reason women lose interest in men is weakness, not physical weakness, but emotional weakness. The habit of begging for attention, over-explaining, asking for permission to exist in her world. And here's the cruel truth. She doesn't need days or weeks to figure it out. She knows instantly. Why? Because women have developed a biological radar over thousands of years. They can sense hesitation, they can smell insecurity, they can feel when a man's entire value depends on her reaction. And when she senses that, you stop being unique. You become ordinary. Just another man chasing, just another man trying too hard, just another man silently saying, "Please validate me." This is what I call the trap of needing approval. Picture this. You send a message, no reply, so you send another, then another. You wait anxiously for the little typing dots. And when she doesn't respond, your chest feels heavy, your mind spins with reasons. Maybe she's busy. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe if I explain, she'll understand I deserve her time. Brother, I need you to hear me clearly. The more you explain, the weaker you look. The more you beg, the less valuable you become. Because value never begs. A lion does not ask permission to roar. A king does not explain why he wears the crown. But when you beg for attention, when you explain why she should like you, you silently hand her all your power. And once you give it away, attraction dies. Think of the men women chase the hardest. It's not the ones sending double texts at 2 a.m. It's not the ones rearranging their lives just to fit into hers. It's not the ones who live and die by her attention. No, it's the men who can walk away without fear. The men whose lives are already full, already alive with purpose. The men who don't need her approval because their worth doesn't hang in the balance of her reaction. Here's the law. Respect comes before love. Without respect, love fades. But with respect, attraction grows stronger. And respect only comes when a man shows he doesn't need permission to be himself. So every time you over-explain, every time you justify, every time you beg for her attention, you're not just lowering your value in her eyes, you're erasing it. The harsh truth is this: when you live for approval, you lose yourself. But when you live from strength, you become magnetic. Now, let me take you deeper. Most men think attraction is built on logic. If I show her why I'm a good guy, she'll see my value. But value doesn't work that way. Value is never explained, it's felt. When you try to convince her why she should give you a chance, you're already standing on weak ground. Why? Because convincing is a silent confession. It tells her, I need you to approve of me. Real value doesn't need speeches, it doesn't need bullet points, it doesn't need to prove. It's like fire. You don't argue that fire is hot, you feel the heat. That's why some men chase endlessly and get nothing, while others barely try, and yet women lean toward them without hesitation. The difference isn't luck, it isn't fate, it's presence. A man who carries himself with strength, calmness, and quiet direction doesn't need to beg for attention. She feels it in his posture, she hears it in his tone, she sees it in the way he moves through life. This is the law. Real power is not announced, it's felt. Now compare. A weak man says, "Can I have your number?" He's seeking permission. He's asking to be chosen. A strong man says, "My phone's here, add your number if you'd like." No begging, no proving, just presence. The first creates pressure, the second creates curiosity. One feels like a request, the other feels like an opportunity. And this is the secret most men will never understand. Attraction is not built by forcing her to give. It's built by making her want to. When she feels she's choosing you instead of being chased by you, her instincts flip completely. She doesn't feel hunted. She feels drawn. This isn't manipulation. It's not a cheap trick. It's the psychology of presence. Because in the end, value is never explained. It is lived. And when you live it, she feels it. So let me ask you directly, where in your life are you begging? Where are you handing over your power? Where are you saying, without words, "Please validate me"? Brother, the man who begs is forgotten, but the man who stands in silence, certain of his worth, is remembered. So stop begging, stop proving, stop asking for permission, because the man who does not beg is the man she cannot ignore. The invisible law of the frame. There's a rule that runs silently in every interaction between a man and a woman. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But it decides everything. Who leads? Who follows? Who holds the power? This rule is called the frame. And let me tell you, once you understand the frame, you'll never look at conversations, dates, or relationships the same way again. Think back to a time you were talking to a woman you really liked. At first, it felt good. She smiled, she seemed engaged. But then suddenly, you realized you were doing all the work. You were asking every question. You were scrambling for new topics. You were laughing nervously just to keep her entertained. You were adjusting your energy to match hers, terrified of a pause in the conversation. If this has ever happened to you, then brother, you already lost the frame. And when you lose the frame, you lose everything. So, what does a man who owns the frame do differently? He doesn't bend to her rhythm. He doesn't spend the whole interaction reacting to her moods, her schedule, her attention. He creates his own rhythm. Instead of waiting for her to decide the next move, he makes the next move. Instead of nervously wondering, what will she say next? He provokes her reaction. He becomes the center of gravity, the anchor in the interaction, the shift in her mind. And here's where the magic happens. When she feels your frame is stronger than hers, her psychology changes instantly. She stops judging you, stops silently asking herself, is he good enough for me? And a new thought enters her mind. Am I good enough for him? That, right there, is the turning point. That's when attraction flips. You stop chasing her approval, and she starts competing for yours. Now, let's clear up a massive misconception. The frame is not arrogance. It's not about being rude. It's not about controlling her or acting cold. The frame is calm strength. It's unshakable presence. It's knowing exactly who you are and refusing to let anyone pull you off center. When she tests you, and she will test you, you don't panic. You don't scramble. You don't bend. You simply hold your ground. Quiet, strong, certain. Let me give you an example. She says to you, I have plans this weekend. Now there are two possible responses. The weak man's frame, his heart drops, his mind starts racing. What if she forgets me? What if she meets someone else? He panics. He chases. Oh, really? With who? What are you doing? Maybe we can hang out before. Maybe I can come with you after. Every word drips with desperation. Every sentence carries the same hidden message. Please don't leave me out. Please don't forget me. Please keep me important. And guess what? She doesn't need to think about it. She feels it. Instantly. Her instincts tell her, this man's world revolves around me. His power is mine to control. And the moment she feels that, attraction drops. Now the strong man's frame. He hears, I have plans this weekend. And he smiles, calm, unbothered. Good for you. I've got my own things lined up too. And then he stops. No questions, no chasing, no begging for details. His world doesn't crumble because she's busy. His life doesn't revolve around her schedule. And in that instant, the frame flips. Instead of being the sun she orbits around, she now feels the pull of his orbit. And something stirs in her mind. Why doesn't he need to know about my plans? Who's he with? What's he doing? Curiosity is born, and curiosity is power. This is why men who own the frame are unforgettable. Because when a woman feels your world has direction, energy, and value that exists with or without her, she stops being the judge. She starts being the applicant. Instead of you proving yourself to her, she starts proving herself to you. Instead of you chasing her attention, she begins competing for yours. That's the essence of frame control. Now, I want you to imagine something. You're sitting across from her at a cafe. Her eyes test you with silence. Her words test you with little jabs. Her schedule tests you with distance. Most men would crack under the pressure. They'd fumble for jokes. They'd explain themselves. They'd try to fix the silence. But you lean back. You hold your ground. You smile slowly, as if you're in no rush to prove anything. And in that moment, she feels it. She can't shake you. And that feeling is magnetic. So, let me leave you with this truth. The frame is everything. Lose it, and you lose yourself. Hold it, and you hold her attention effortlessly. Because a woman can like many men, but she only desires the man she cannot control. And the man who owns the frame is the man she will fight to keep. The hidden psychology of reward. Most men think attraction works like this. If I give her more, she'll give me more. If I try harder, she'll try harder. If I prove myself, she'll value me. But that's not how human psychology works. In fact, the more you give without reason, the less she values you. Why? Because the human brain is wired to attach value only to what must be earned. Think about it. Why is a diamond worth infinitely more than a stone you pick off the street? Both are rocks, but one requires effort, rarity, and pursuit. The other costs nothing. Attraction works on the same principle. If your attention is cheap, if your presence is always available, if your affection costs her nothing, her brain dismisses it. It becomes ordinary. But if she has to earn it, if she feels she could lose it, if she knows your world won't collapse just because she's busy, suddenly her emotions attach with force. This is not just opinion, it's biology. Scarcity excites the brain. Abundance kills desire. Here's the mistake most men make. They reply instantly to every message. They give constant attention. They rearrange their schedule the second she asks. They reveal their entire life story on the first date, as if approval will be unlocked by oversharing. And what happens? She gets bored. Not because she's cruel, not because she's cold, but because there's no tension, no challenge, nothing left to discover. Mystery is gone, and when mystery dies, desire dies with it. So, how do you flip the script? By using what I call reward triggers. It's simple. 2 steps: retention and release. Retention means you don't give everything at once. You don't answer instantly every time. You don't reveal every detail of your life right away. You don't clear your schedule the second she calls. You keep a sense of depth. So, she always feels there's more to discover. A man with mystery is never boring, because curiosity keeps him alive in her mind. Then comes release. Release is when she invests in you. She texts first. She cancels her plans just to be with you. She reveals something personal. She shows genuine effort. That's when you open up. That's when you reward her investment with your full presence, your attention, your energy. This creates a powerful psychological loop. Every time she gives, she gets something meaningful in return. Her brain links effort with reward. And human beings are wired to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. The result? She invests more, she gives more, she begins to chase you. Now notice the difference. The needy man keeps pouring out attention without limit, hoping she stays. But the powerful man? He makes her effort the key that unlocks his deeper world. That's why reward triggers are so effective. They don't rely on pickup lines, tricks, or fake alpha games. They rely on something far deeper: human nature. When you use them, you stop being another man running after her, and you become the man she doesn't want to lose. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine a slot machine. Every time you pull the lever, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. The uncertainty is what makes people addicted. Relationships work the same way. If she always has you on call, she stops pulling the lever. But if she feels she must earn your energy, if your presence comes as a reward for her investment, she keeps showing up over and over because the payoff is worth it. It's not manipulation, it's psychology. It's the invisible loop that keeps desire alive. Here's a story for you. I once knew a man who gave everything on day one. He texted constantly, rearranged his work for dates, bought gifts, opened his heart like a diary. At first, she smiled, but within weeks, her interest faded. Why? Because there was no pursuit left, no effort required. She didn't have to earn him, so she didn't value him. Then I knew another man, quiet, calm, and intentional. He didn't rush, he didn't explain himself. But when she invested, when she showed up, when she gave effort, he rewarded her with attention that felt special, rare, deeply genuine. She chased him for months, not because he was cold, but because he made her effort matter. So, understand this. A woman only values what she must earn. When she feels she already owns you, interest dies. When she feels she must fight to win your space, desire multiplies. This is why the man who gives everything too soon always ends up forgotten. But the man who lives with restraint, who makes his presence a prize, that man becomes unforgettable. Brother, never forget. When she invests in you, reward her. But when she doesn't, hold steady. Because the man who understands reward triggers will never beg. He won't need to. His presence becomes the prize, and she will fight to keep it. From scarcity to abundance, the life that attracts. Here's the truth most men never face. Attraction isn't about tricks. It's not about memorizing clever lines or pretending to be confident. It's about the energy you live with, and at the root of it all lies your mindset. Most men live in scarcity. A few rare men live in abundance. That single difference decides everything. Scarcity? Scarcity whispers, "She is rare. If I lose her, I lose everything. I must do whatever it takes to hold on." That mindset puts her on the throne and puts you on your knees. Every action you take is poisoned by fear. Fear of losing her, fear of not being enough, fear of being replaced, and fear kills attraction. Scarcity energy is desperate, it's clingy, it's heavy. Even when you're silent, she feels it. It leaks through your body language, through your words, through the way you wait for her to choose you. And the moment she feels it, she pulls away. Abundance whispers something entirely different. I am rare, I already have value. Let's see if she deserves a place in my world. This mindset doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't collapse when she pulls back. It stands steady, calm, untouchable, and women feel it instantly. They may not explain it with words, but their instincts recognize it. Now, let's be clear. Abundance doesn't mean arrogance. It doesn't mean acting superior, pretending you don't care, or treating her badly. That's just insecurity dressed up in fake confidence. Real abundance is quieter. It's the deep knowledge of your worth, the calm certainty that you don't need to beg for attention, because your life already has meaning. Picture two men asking a woman out. The first says, "Would you maybe like to go out with me sometime?" It sounds polite, but underneath, it's scarcity. It's a request, almost like an application. It hands her all the power before the interaction even begins. The second man says, "I'll be at this spot Friday night. Come if you want to." Do you feel the difference? One is asking for permission. The other is offering an opportunity. One says, "Please pick me." The other says, "This is my world. You're welcome to join if you'd like." That small shift flips the entire dynamic. And here's where it gets even deeper. When you live in scarcity, you ask yourself, how do I keep her? But when you live in abundance, the question changes to, does she earn a place in my life? That is the question of a man with power. Building real abundance. Now, here's the part most men ignore. You cannot fake abundance. You can pretend for a night. You can wear the mask of confidence. You can copy the behaviors of so-called alpha males. But sooner or later, the mask slips. And when it does, she sees the truth, the emptiness, the desperation, the man pretending instead of becoming. Real abundance doesn't come from acting. It comes from building. Build first, then attract. The man who radiates power has something deeper than charm. He has a mission. He has a foundation that cannot be shaken. Think about it. The man chasing his mission doesn't sit around sending 20 texts to a woman who doesn't reply. His energy is already claimed by something bigger than her attention. The man building his body, sharpening his craft, pursuing his goals. He doesn't need someone else to tell him he has worth. He sees it every time he makes progress. The man living a meaningful life doesn't beg for affection. He chooses carefully who is allowed to enter his world. That kind of man is magnetic. That kind of man, women feel without a word. Why this works? Machiavelli once wrote that real power does not need to be declared. It is simply seen. This is exactly how abundance works in attraction. You don't need to brag. You don't need to explain. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. When you live with purpose, it shows. She feels it in your calmness. She sees it in the way you move. She notices it when you don't panic if she doesn't reply. Respect is drawn naturally, not demanded. The paradox of power. Here's the strange truth. The man desperate for attention pushes women away. His neediness suffocates attraction. But the man who already has a full, exciting life pulls women toward him, precisely because he doesn't need them. He chooses them. And choice is the highest form of power a man can have. Look at your life right now. What does your daily routine say about you? Does it scream emptiness, hours scrolling online, waiting for her to text back, rearranging your world for scraps of attention? Or does it show strength, clear goals, discipline, passions, direction that exist with or without her? Because women are wired to sense the difference instantly. The man with no mission becomes background noise, forgettable, replaceable. But the man with a mission, he becomes unforgettable. He doesn't need to shout. His life speaks for him. Final words. So, now you have the full map. Stop needing approval. Hold the frame. Trigger rewards. Live in abundance. This isn't a trick. It's a way of life. Because the truth is simple. Women chase the man who doesn't need to chase. So, build your mission. Stand tall in your frame. Live in abundance. And you'll see, the more you stop begging, the more the world starts giving. Because the man who lives with strength and certainty becomes the man women cannot ignore.